All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Randall Gates, board certified chiropractic neurologist, also a chiropractic physician at Gates Brain Health. Tonight I'm talking about this bacteria referred to as Collinsella and rheumatoid arthritis and leaky gut. So if you have any questions, send them to me on this live or afterwards. So that's what we'll do. Okie dokie. So this is the slide I've been showing you from experimental and molecular medicine. Technically, this is probably part 3 of, hang on one second while I load Facebook. This is really part 3 of the infection and autoimmunity broadcast series. So I'm going through this one by one. I've talked about other bacteria at the same time, referring to Porphyromonas gingivalis in the mouth, also talked about Prevotella species last time, and now I'm talking about Collinsella. Just a brief review, as we see in this diagram. Periodontal bacteria, Porphyromonas gingivalis specifically, is seen as one of the most common periodontal infections. Periodontitis is much more common in rheumatoid arthritis, and that's why it's significant. It's also really significant because this is the one bacteria that has an enzyme that causes the specific immune reaction seen in rheumatoid arthritis, and researchers either think that this bacteria is evoking the rheumatoid arthritis reaction at the level of the mouth, or that because it has been found in the joints, its DNA has been found in the joints of rheumatoid arthritis sufferers, that may also be significant. So that's piece 1. And hi to everyone who is joining. Hello. Okay. Now, last time I talked about Prevotella. Prevotella is a group of bacteria which are seen in large abundance in rheumatoid arthritis. And researchers really didn't know, is this cause or effect? Is it correlation or causation? New research has basically shown, really high quality research has shown that those with a genetic susceptibility to rheumatoid arthritis, basically their genetic susceptibility in part fosters more of this gut bacteria called Prevotella corpori and Prevotella species. Prevotella is associated with, let me say it this way, antibodies to Prevotella have been shown to exacerbate the whole rheumatoid arthritis disease model. Certain cytokine responses, cytokines are kind of like little messengers within our immune system. And so that's a big deal as well. Tonight, I'm talking about Collinsella. With all fidelity, I was not really that familiar with Collinsella until I read this article in Experimental and Molecular Medicine. Collinsella was named, I believe, after a Dr. Collins who discovered it. There's not a lot of data on Collinsella. It's a type of Actinobacter family, or Actinobacteria family. And you'll see that a lot when you start exploring the microbiome. Those who go into the healthcare world, most of them are going to take a medical bacteriology class, and in medical bacteriology, we're typically studying the bacteria that cause problems like Campylobacter. You would know Salmonella, E. coli, Shigella. These are bacteria that cause diarrhea, as an example, or bloody diarrhea. But now there's this whole burgeoning world of the microbiome, the microbiota, and we're just now learning so much about so many of these bacteria that before did not get a lot of attention. Collinsella seems to be one of them. So what do we know about Collinsella? What is the application to rheumatoid arthritis? Let me see. So we're going to hide this one. We're going to show this in stream. Let's see. Okay, let me go through the different slides. Okay, so that's the first slide. And then let's see here. What is dysbiosis? I just think that's a good topic just to review. Dysbiosis is referring to abnormal populations of quote unquote bad bacteria within the gut. And so we see gut dysbiosis with almost every chronic autoimmune and inflammatory disease at this point. We see it with prediabetes, we see it with diabetes, we see it with all the autoimmune diseases, or most of them. And so researchers are still pondering how much of an association is there, how significant is this dysbiosis, but we know that as we learn more and more about the microbiome, that it seems to be significant. We have a question. So do these bacteria have an affinity to the joints, or are they found in other disease entities? Great question. So the best way I can answer that is that Collinsella has DNA fragments which look like a certain type of human leukocyte antigen that we see present in rheumatoid arthritis. So you'll hear about HLA. HLA refers to human leukocyte antigens, and the classic example is HLA-B27 seen with ankylosing spondylitis. And so when people talk about your genetic propensity for a certain condition, lots of times they're talking about an HLA polymorphism. So HLA DRB104 or star 0401 is one genetic association with rheumatoid arthritis, and it involves how your immune cells recognize yourself from other pathogens. And they have found that this Collinsella bacteria has DNA fragments which look exactly like this HLA DRB10401 for rheumatoid arthritis. So it's thought that this Collinsella bacteria can evoke what's referred to as molecular mimicry. So in essence, the Collinsella bacteria looks like this HLA binding domain, and then that may be evoking the rheumatoid arthritis reaction, potentially. To my knowledge, Collinsella has not been found in the joints of rheumatoid arthritis patients, whereas Porphyromonas gingivalis has. Doesn't mean that it won't. Going through the PubMed database, I found basically 6 articles associating Collinsella with rheumatoid arthritis. Maybe in the next year we'll have, 18 or so, or 20, somewhere in there. But right now we have just over a handful. We do know that Collinsella seems to have associations with triggering the cytokine interleukin-17. Again, cytokines are messengers within the immune system. With the current pandemic, for example, what they're finding is that the dead virus triggers a cytokine storm. And so the cytokine storm is all these immune messengers running around, and these immune messengers then can create a lot of inflammation and can create problems. So with autoimmune diseases, lots of times we'll see a shift of certain cytokines one direction or another. And the Th17/IL17 inflammatory pathways are very inflammatory. So the fact that Collinsella is evoking higher levels of interleukin-17 may be significant, maybe not. And then Collinsella does affect tight junction expression. The background of these slides is trying to bring up basically the intestinal villi, or raise awareness of the intestinal villi. And within the intestines, each epithelial cell of the intestines is bound together by proteins referred to as tight junctions. Very much analogous to a zipper. And the proteins are referred to as zonulin and occludin. Zonulin and occludin. So, okay, let's go to the next one. So this is the key article that I am citing for tonight. There are more recent articles, but I really like this one. It is from a mouse model, but there was some good information gleaned from this. So this is out of Genome Medicine 2016. An expansion of rare lineage intestinal microbes characterizes rheumatoid arthritis. And so this rare lineage, again, we're learning more about the microbiome, this expansion of the Actinobacteria, and Collinsella is a genus within the Actinobacteria. And what they saw, this is kind of summarizing everything I just said. One mechanism by which Collinsella contributes is to increase gut permeability. So they found in the study that Collinsella increases gut permeability, i.e. overpopulation of Collinsella causes leaky gut in mice. Can we say that in humans yet? No, but in the study, they kept inoculating these mice with Collinsella, and they found that their gut basically broke down. So if you're a rheumatoid arthritis patient and you've had a microbiome test and they saw high levels of Collinsella, we can't conclude anything definitively from that, but if it were me, I would want to take some action on that. I'll talk about that at the end. They saw that Collinsella influences the production of IL-17A and NF-kappa beta. NF-kappa beta is kind of referred to as the evil dictator of your immune system. Once NF-kappa beta gets turned on, a lot of inflammatory pathways get turned on, and they kind of stay turned on, which is one reason why so many autoimmune diseases, once somebody starts changing their diet, can be confusing to the patient and the doctor, because you're changing your diet, maybe you're taking probiotics, and your autoimmune disease symptoms are not changing, and that may be because so many downstream pathways like NF-kappa beta and these other cytokine shifts have occurred, and it's like a snowball. Once it gets rolling, it stays rolling, and you may have to do other things to help kind of, so to speak, tripwire your immune system from attacking you. Some of those, for some people, will involve medications. Alternatively, we're looking at a lot of different compounds to try and slow down NF-kappa beta. Basically, they saw that the gut microbiota of RA patients exhibited decreased diversity with increased disease duration and seropositivity. Basically, that just means that the longer you have RA, the less diverse the microbiome is. And they also saw the decreased abundance of fecal bacterium and increased Collinsella may lead to increased epithelial permeability, causing microbial fragments and products to enter the subepithelial space and lamina propria, i.e., just again, that Collinsella may cause leaky gut. And as I mentioned in the last broadcast, what are all these diverging populations of bacteria doing? So maybe Porphyromonas gingivalis, from a periodontal standpoint, may be evoking the RA reaction. Maybe overgrowth of Prevotella and Collinsella is leading to more quote-unquote leaky gut, and maybe that is then allowing some of these bacterial DNA fragments to enter into the bloodstream. Maybe, maybe not. A lot of that is conjecture, but I'm just giving you the most current information. Okay, and then I think well, I found this slide interesting. I won't project what you think. But here they, in essence, showed, I believe these were more of the normal samples. Here you can see things look different, basically. There's a less expression of tight junction proteins in the mice who were inoculated with lots of Collinsella. So less tight junction proteins, just think less zippers between your intestinal epithelial cells when there's an overpopulation of Collinsella. So, and yes, as one of the comments said, the gut does affect so many things. So, and kind of in conclusion, let's bring this one up here, and I'm going to hide this one, and I'm going to bring myself down. Again, environmental factors are important. Probably one of my next videos will be on the association between smoking and rheumatoid arthritis. But now we have looked at the periodontal bacteria. We've looked at the gut microbiota. We see how the periodontal bacteria have been shown to evoke these specific immune reactions seen in rheumatoid arthritis. How is the gut interplaying with this? Maybe these overpopulations of bacteria in the gut are breaking down the gut barrier. And maybe lots of them are there just because that's what the genetic association is. It allows overgrowth of Prevotella, but Prevotella is thought to affect these cytokine responses in RA patients. And then one of my other videos that I'll do in this infection and autoimmune series will be on this bacteria called Proteus mirabilis, which seems to go from the gut to the urinary tract, and that has also been shown to evoke an immune reaction seen in rheumatoid arthritis. All of this is kind of under the umbrella of what's referred to as functional rheumatology, and trying to get to the root of what these autoimmune diseases, or what the root is of these autoimmune diseases, rather. or the roots are of these autoimmune diseases. So send me your thoughts, your questions, and I appreciate all of you tuning in. And I'll be back sometime soon with another broadcast on all of these topics. Okay, have a lovely evening and talk to you later.